it's going to be the Milwaukee Brewers. The Brewers in 2023 had a payroll of $125 million. Their estimated payroll in 2024 is $93.5 million. And they got here by non-tendering a couple guys, Brandon Woodruff and Rowdy Tellez. But this offseason, they've already signed Jackson Chourio to an 8-year, $82 million extension with a pair of club options on the back end that can push it to about, I want to say 120 across 10 years. They signed Wade Miley to a 1-year plus a mutual option. They signed Joe Ross to a 1-year deal, Eric Haas to a 1-year deal. They acquired Coleman Crow for Adrian Hauser and Tyrone Taylor. Got Jake Bowers from New York for Brian Sanchez and Jay Savina. They got Taylor Clark, a reliever from Kansas City for Ryan Brady and Cam Devaney. They got Oliver Dunn from Philly for Robert Moore and Henry Mendez. They traded Abraham Toro to Oakland for Chad Patrick. So it's been busy in terms of low publicity, low sex appeal signings, except for non-tendering Woodruff and the Jackson Chourio extension. Looking back on both those after we have time to kind of like settle in and think about it, Woodruff, going to miss the entirety of this year. Yeah, like it was, you had to, especially because he's going to hit the open market. The Chourio extension, like this makes perfect sense, right? Top 100 update. He is top blank in baseball.
4.
Really?
Yeah, top 4.
Top 4. Okay, you're not giving away too much.
Maybe top 3.
Okay, got you. All right, stay tuned for the top 100 update.
Yeah.
But you think he's the opening day center fielder?
Yeah. I think the second that the ink dried, they pulled him off the field in the
Venezuelan
league. Yeah. So I think the plan is, hey, like we're paying him, like he better be playing center field. I assume he's playing center.
Okay. So catcher, William Contreras with Eric Hosnes as backup. Jefferson Caro is going to start the year in AAA. Do you think Caro can be the backup by September?
Absolutely. If they want him to be, I think he absolutely can be. But Haas is like fine in the meantime. But Caro, yeah, with his defensive ability, no doubt. And by the way, for Brewers fans, we just broke down the Brewers farm system on the call up. So go check out the call up podcast to hear our breakdown on, a lot of these Brewers prospects. But yeah, no, I think Caro could be ready by next year.
Yeah. First base, we got to do something. And again, the sake of this exercise is to make the team better. It's not to trade Corbin Burns and trade Devin Williams, even though last episode literally sent Devin Williams to the Dodgers. It's to retain and make them better in 2024. Jake Bowers and Owen Miller are the first base options this year in Milwaukee. Just sign Rhys Hoskins. Is it as simple as that?
I mean, yes, but they're not going to do that.
They're not going to do it.
We also have to be like, we have to be realistic with what we think they would or could do. It's funny. I was going to ask you, like, you look at this team. This team could compete. Like, they're only a couple pieces away from being able to compete in that division, especially with the Cubs being dormant and some of the other teams that are just not really doing much. They still think the Cardinals, they're great on paper, but their rotation still has a ways to go. I would like to think that they're going to aim a little bit higher at first base. We can look at some free agents there and see what they do, but it's got to be better than Bowers. We'll definitely upgrade out there.
I would think so. Bryce Terang at second base, Willie Adames at shortstop, with Terang kind of serving as his backup. Like, you're going to roll with that if you don't trade Adames. We're not trading Adames for the sake of the exercise. Andrew Monasterio at third base, Owen Miller is his backup. And then you got Tyler Black waiting in the wings too. Do you think Black gets ample big league run this year, or do you think they look at Monasterio and others?
I think Tyler Black could end up getting not only ample big league run, he might be their first base option.
He might be at first base. Okay.
Yeah. I think about it. I mean, like, look, I don't think he's a great defender really anywhere. So it's not like you're wasting his athleticism at first base.
Right.
That's the most dynamic first baseman in the sport, maybe. Like, you're gonna have a first baseman that could steal 40 bags. That's pretty nuts. I think at the big league level, he probably steals 30, but Black could be a guy that ends up slotting in at first. And I think he's just about big league ready.
So he suffered a brutal injury in the outfield when they gave him a go in center, right? That was in 2022.
Yeah, he fractured his scapula.
Dude, so bad. But he came back this year. He split the year between Double A and Triple A. In Double A, 69 starts at third base, 7 starts at first base. So, cup of coffee at first base. In Triple A, that number got bigger. 28 starts at third base, 9 starts at first base. Are you still looking at first base options, like on the free agent market, maybe even trade market? Or are you just saying, like, hey, Tyler Black, he was good in Triple A too. He's worthy of like a chance in spring training.
I'd rather put that money towards a pitcher on a 1 year, because even if you aren't good, right, and you start to tear it down,
Uh-huh.
the 1 year is kind of playing both sides, right? Because it gives you a chance to be good this year, and then if it doesn't work out, you go and flip them later. So I'd rather put that money towards a pitcher on a 1 year. So yeah, I would go with Black at first base. I think you just outright have him there. And Bauer's a fine insurance policy, but I think Black is capable of being very, very good for them at first base. And again, the speed of this team that's the thing. If you're not going to absolutely rake, which I
Yeah.
think they'll hit fine, speed and scrappy and put the ball in play and walk, like this would be a very frustrating team to face with Black in the lineup too as a pitcher.
So can we upgrade third base? Because the outfield, like, I don't want to touch, frankly. It's going to be Chorio, Christian Yelich, and Sal Frelick. You have either Garrett Mitchell, or Joey Weimer as the fourth outfield option. So let's trade a fifth outfielder. Let's trade one of those guys for a third baseman. I know when we did the Pirates, I floated Nick Gonzalez for Garrett Mitchell. Gonzalez could play second. We were expecting Milwaukee to trade Adames at that point. That would push Terang to short, and Gonzalez would play second. But now let's look at third base options for either Garrett Mitchell or Joey Weimer. Does anybody jump to your mind, or is there a guy like on the free agent market that you say, hey, Giovanni or Shelley, you're a Milwaukee Brewer?
That's kind of the name I was going to
Okay,
look. but
got
but
you.
here's my thing. So question here is, which outfielder are you moving? Garrett Mitchell, super talented, borderline like 80 runner, hits
Yeah.
the ball hard, puts it on the ground way too much, but like that's just kind of his game. Weimer, great defensive center fielder, hits the living crap out of the ball, but hit a wall offensively at the end of the year. You probably know what my answer is going to be, but what is your answer?
I think your answer is Weimer.
Mm-hmm.
And I think my answer, in terms of staying, your answer is Weimer.
Like who I'd keep, yes.
Yes, I think my answer is Weimer as well, because Mitchell is a lefty. You've got
And
Yelich as a lefty. You got Frelick as a lefty.
exactly.
So I'm thinking just 2 left-handed bats, 2 right-handed bats.
Yep.
And Weimer is like crazy. Like Weimer could hit 30 bombs if he plays
That's the thing
140
is
games.
Mitchell. I think Mitchell's really good. Like I think he'd be a fine player, but you're limited kind of platoon wise. He puts the ball on the ground way too much, I think, to really dream on too much power. Yes, he's fast. Yes, he brings some things to the table. But I do think like, there's a world where, like you said, Weimer's hitting 30 bombs,
Yeah.
and playing all 3 outfield spots with just a rocket for an arm. So I'd rather see it through with Weimer, and I think he adds something that this team's kind of missing in terms of, you still have athleticism there, but just pure power. So yeah, I say you move Mitchell. If you move Mitchell, the trade market's tough for third base, right? Like who is out there that you can reasonably go get at the hot corner in a
So,
trade like that? Because Mitchell is coming off an injury. He did look fine at the end of the year. I actually got to catch him in Nashville. He
yeah.
was motoring, that's for sure. But yeah, I mean, like how many third basemen are really out there?
Yeah, so right now I see 4 third base options in Detroit. I see Colt Keith, I see Matt Vierling, I see Nick Maton, and I see Justin Henry Malloy. Would you not entertain the idea of chatting with Scott Harris in Detroit?
So Justin Henry Malloy, probably an outfielder now, right?
But he
Um,
played a good bit of third base. So I'll give you like the positional splits, like in terms of starts last year in Toledo.
okay.
Justin Henry Malloy.
Because like yes, but
It
do
was
do the do the Tigers need another left-handed hitting outfielder?
They could use one. Right now, their outfield, Carpenter is the DH. Like, I think you just slot him in. Canna's a right-handed hitter. Parker Meadows, lefty. Riley Green, lefty. But, like, in terms of outfield depth, Their projected bench right now is Andy Ibanez, Nick Maton, Tyler Nevin. And their farm system as it stands right now in the outfield is like Akil Badu, Justice Bigby, who's right-handed, Bly Madris, Ryan Valade. Like I think Mitchell leapfrogs pretty much everybody not named Green or I mean shit, dude, he might just leapfrog Parker Meadows too.
Yeah.
Would you
What
rather have
about
Garrett Mitchell or Parker Meadows in 2024?
oof,
I
Garrett
think
Mitchell.
Mitchell. I think
Garrett
Mitchell.
Mitchell. Yeah. Okay, two other teams that are kind of interest. Um, Pittsburgh with Triolo,
Mm-hmm.
and then I just had one off the top of my head. So Pittsburgh with Triolo, Cleveland could be an interesting one with Arias and some other options.
Yeah.
But I don't see that necessarily materializing. Geez.
Yeah.
And Toronto. What about Toronto? Because they have kind of this glut to a degree too,
Yeah.
um, where they got to kind of figure some things out. They just signed IKF, right? So now you have Espinal, who plays a great third base, who's kind of the odd man out. Maybe you make a move for Santiago Espinal. Like you paid IKF,
Yeah.
so could Espinal make sense?
I don't hate the idea. I think Espinal could make a lot of sense. You think because Barger was playing a decent bit of third base too. They're not moving
Or
Aroldis
Elvis,
Martinez.
or
They're.
they're not moving Elvis, and he plays plenty of third.
Do you think they would move Barger for Mitchell? But do they want a left-handed hitting Barger in return?
I don't think you'd mind if he plays third base. Um,
The other one, like,
Kevin Biggio is not a terrible option, but he just doesn't have much control. So it's just kind of like a why. And I'm not moving Mitchell for him.
so
So
the other one that kind of jumps out to me is Jose Miranda in
ooh,
Minnesota
ooh, that is a fun one
because he's phased out entirely in Minnesota.
entirely. And you figure that so the Twins want to get cheaper. You trade Kepler, you plug in Garrett Mitchell, you got more athletic too. Um, I don't hate that at all. But I'd want more on top of Miranda given where he's at.
Okay,
But
so
so the Brewers are fine
Miranda,
with that. They'll take their prospects, like
yeah,
I think
I mean,
because that would allow. I mean, right now, dude, like I know it's another lefty, but I don't trust Matt Wallner like that. I know that he had a nice 250 plate appearances, but like he whiffs a lot.
yeah,
Um, and if you're gonna move Kepler anyways, he's an insurance policy to Wallner. He can, also plug in where Kepler plays, and he can also plug into center field. Whereas Kepler's kind of stretched thin in center. Wallner can't play center, and Buxton, you're trying to shelter from center. So I actually like that a lot. Willie Castro right now would be the guy, and Nick Gordon that would have to plug in out there. So I think that might be the move,
do you
and
buy
maybe it's
low? Yeah, do you add Simeon Woods Richardson, like buy low on him? He couldn't have been worse in AAA last year.
yeah. So that was what my question was going to be. Do you buy low on him, or do you try to get them to throw in like a Willie Castro? So just in case, you need an insurance policy in the outfield or something. But I think they like Castro.
Yeah, I would they throw in Nick Gordon? Probably not. I think they really like Nick Gordon.
Not after last year. Maybe they would.
Maybe they would. Okay, would you want
But you'd have to find the spot on the floor. Like, is Nick Gordon better on your bench than somebody else?
probably not at this
Right.
point?
So I think it would be Miranda and a prospect.
Okay. I'm looking at their starting pitching prospects right now. Like part of me is just thinking Minnesota's just trying to cut bait on Simeon Woods Richardson, and he's only 23 years old.
Could do that. Could do the old Austin Martin.
You could, if you want. You and your Severino, you could do that too.
Junior hits bombs.
He just hit 37 pumps last year.
He hits nukes.
Pick
Yeah,
one.
I think that's kind of a fun swap. It's crazy what happened to Miranda last year because I thought what he did in AAA was one of the most impressive seasons I've seen in some time.
Yeah.
And then just injury banged up. Yeah, I think it's a perfect kind of bounce back opportunity here. So we'll go Miranda and then yeah, do you want to go with a prospect? Probably, right? So we'll
Yeah.
go. I think SWR could be a good flyer to take. I
Cool.
like that.
Miranda and Simeon Woods Richardson for Garrett Mitchell.
That's a great deal.
Send it in. Uh,
Send it in.
Starting pitching: Corbin Burns, Freddie Peralta, Wade Miley, Colin Ray, Joe Ross, Aaron Ashby if he's healthy, or is he just in the pen? Jansen Junk, Robert Gasser is waiting. Bryce
Yes.
Wilson is backup. Mizorowski could be there at the end of the year, like if you don't want to waste bullets.
Yeah, if you don't want to waste bullets, absolutely. But he's going to have to not hit 3 batters per start.
Yes,
I
that's
did.
an
I did.
issue.
I crunched the numbers. We joked about it on the call up, by the way. His
Right.
hit by pitch rate was 5.7%,
Oh,
which was higher than I think the walk rate of like 31 qualified minor league pitchers.
oh my God.
Hit by pitch rate, 5.7%. I'd be up there legitimately peeing in my pants.
Terrified. Oh,
Terrified.
so bad.
Yeah, no, that was one where after Griff faced him, that was one where I was like, I couldn't wait to text him. Just said, what the fuck did that look like?
Yeah.
And he just said, like, nothing I've ever seen before. That's all
Scared
I wanted to
shitless.
hear. Dude, it was that, and then I think Uribe in relief. Abner Uribe in relief. It's like, yeah, double A's supposed to be easy, right? Guys are supposed to be able to hit out there.
Bro, I'm
You're gonna
crawling
face
into
Mizorowski and Abner Uribe.
I'm crawling into the fetal position in the shower after that if I have to see Mizorowski and Uribe in the same game.
Oh, I'm sick for the day. I'm hurt. Something's flaring up.
Oh, so bad.
So we go first and foremost, Gasser's in this rotation.
Yes.
Like, look, enough. He threw a whole year in AAA last year. He was great.
He was
Gasser
great.
Gasser will be a great 4. And we talked about that on the call up. So pencil Gasser in behind Miley as the 4.
Okay.
Do you
sign
go
a
get
5.
another arm? Or are you cool with a Ray/Ross number 5 spot?
I'd like to sign a guy to a 1-year deal.
I would too.
I don't know who.
I mean, you gotta aim low with these Brewers, man.
Like really low.
Um,
I'm scanning, scrolling.
I am scrolling as well.
Johnny Cueto.
My eyes locked right on Johnny Cueto. There's no one's giving that, dude. Someone can't. We can't aim that low.
We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it. Come on, just for the bit. Clevenger.
Is someone gonna sign Johnny Cueto?
The Brewers are.
It's a great fit.
All right, Johnny Cueto.
No.
That guy would love like the beer and the cheese and all this.
He would. He would love. He would love. I don't see Johnny Cueto fitting into Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Okay. Kluber.
Kluber's not a bad one. I think his arm is destroyed, though, unfortunately.
Zach Davies.
Hyunjin Ryu.
Ryu. I like Ryu, man.
What's the going rate on a Ryu, though?
1 year for 8.
Is he that cheap now?
Nobody's that cheap now. 1 year for 14.
What did Zach Plesac get?
A ham sandwich and a spring training invite.
Was it a minor league deal?
I don't know.
Why didn't we talk about Zach Plesac to the LA Angels? It was 1 year, $1 million.
1 year, $1 million. I mean,
Overpay.
Yeah, Ryu's 8x.
Do they bring Zach Davies back home?
I like Ryu the best.
Julio Tehran? No, they just had him.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's shoot for Ryu. But that gives them 3 lefties. Do we care? No.
Don't care.
Don't
Burns, Peralta, Miley, Gasser, Ryu with Ray and Ross as backup options and Ashby as a swingman.
I like
And
it.
Wilson as a swingman.
And,
Bullpen. Yeah.
Oh, we'll wrap it up at the end. I just wanted to also make the case as to why, like, we are not trading Burns and Adames at the end, and then we can wrap it up from there.
Okay. Bullpen, I've got no notes. I don't need to add anything. Trevor McGill, sneaky throws like 100.
Yeah, they don't need to do anything.
Nothing.
McGill is great. Yeah, the whole I think this is arguably the most underrated bullpen in baseball beyond Devin Williams.
It's really good.
Okay,
man.
Hobie Milner, Abner Uribe, these are all sub 2 guys. Pyamps was mid 2s, like nasty.
And you just heard my pitch on Ethan Small, the reliever, too. Like 6'6" lefty, fucking weird slot. If he throws in the mid 90s, he's going to get outs in the 6th inning.
Yeah, and I think Junk could be a decent reliever with the slider he's got.
There you go. Okay, make your pitch, and then we'll say bye.
Okay. What are you realistically going to get for Willy Adames at this point? Probably a top 100 guy in what? a couple other top 30 guys, maybe. Would you say that's probably something along the lines of what Willy Adames brings you in with 1 year of control?
I'd say probably your number 10 and number 20 prospect around there.
Yeah, I'm good then because you're going to give him a QO if you don't resign him after this year, if you're the Brewers, and you're going to get based on what he's presumably getting paid, you're going to get a nice draft pick. You're going to get a top 40 draft pick there.
Yeah.
That's probably better than it's not better. It's probably equivalent to one of the prospects you're going to get in return without the throw in, and you get to pick that player. The big one is Corbin Burns. In this market, you can get an absolute haul of all hauls. But I'd almost, with the way that this team already looks, they're already pretty good. They're not far off. You trade Burns and Adames, you're fully mailing it in. No one's showing up to the ballpark this year. You already have RSN issues. Go into the season, see how it starts. Burns had a 3.4 last year. So, like, I know that you're giving up some control, even though it's only a 1 year deal. If he comes out, though, and he's throwing like a 2.8 guy, like we've seen him in the past, or even better than that, he's going to be worth more at the deadline, even if it's a shorter amount of time, or at least it's going to be roughly the same amount. I would rather see what you can do, see if you can compete. Maybe there's a chance you keep Burns. I don't know if the Brewers ever want to pay that, but I don't know. I just feel like you might as well ride it out here. Team is pretty good. You can potentially compete, and you're going to get draft picks for both those guys. QO at the very least. Yeah. But I think if you'll know by the deadline where you're at, and you'll still get something decent for those guys. Might as well see it through and ride it out with this young group that you have. And the fact that you already have so many outfield prospects that you can convert into other pieces that can help you now. Like, I just think you might as well ride it out at this point for 1 more year and see, or at least for half a year, and see where it goes. The return's not going to be that much different.
I like the pitch. I do. I fully like the pitch. Do I think they tear it down? At the deadline, I think they tear it down.
At the deadline. If they're losing, which is great. I think that's how they should do it.
Yeah. I think
and with Adames at the deadline, just keep him at that point. Just do the QO thing. And
yeah, and get a pick. I'm cool with that too. Yeah, part of me is thinking this is the subdued version. And I know, next episode you guys are going to do the Astros. I'll leave you with this. I think the Astros may be undercover doing the Cubs thing where they're trying to thread the needle. And if it doesn't go well, they may start shipping guys off. I think Milwaukee, they're going to do this. They're going to try and thread the needle in a bad division. If it doesn't go well, they're going to ship guys off. Yeah. I thought St. Louis was going to do it last year. They didn't. But if Milwaukee is 5 games under 500 at the deadline, I think you see Burns go. I think you see Devin Williams go. And you get a big return for Devin Williams, much like you did for Hader with 1.5 years remaining.
Exactly. And I think that's the best way to play it. Because, okay, sure, maybe you gave up 10% or 20% in terms of prospect value. I'd say probably closer to 20% if you wait a little bit longer. But Williams is still going to bring you in a mega haul with another year of control.
Mega.
And some of these guys, again, might kind of build their value up a little bit more. Though, and the last thing I'll say is you look at this lineup top to bottom. I think the Brewers have to watch this through see this through because Yelich, we saw him regain some of his form. Contreras has turned into one of the best catchers in baseball. I'm excited to see what his second year South Frelick looks like. Adames should be better than he was last year. Yes. He wasn't great for his standards. Chourio has the potential to be an all-star immediately. Well, great. You just plugged an all-star right into your lineup. There's a guy that reasonably could go 30-30 if it all clicks. I don't think he will. I think he'll go 20-20. Great. You just added that to your lineup. Mitchell was out the whole year. Now he's available. Joey Wiemer, building off of what was a downturn at the end of the year. Turin can't be any worse. And then again, Gasser is going to be in the rotation, so you're adding him. I feel like, and then you have the best bullpen. I think arguably in the division, one of the best bullpens in the National League. This team could surprise people, and with a couple moves here and there like we made, they can hang around. So I think that's all they needed to do. And especially now you're adding Tyler Black to the fold there too at first base. That could be another dynamic player that really ups your bottom line. This could be one of the scrappiest teams in baseball, and I think they should see it through.
Cool beans. All right. Every link you need is in the episode description. We just walked you through the Brewers and a whole bunch of free agent signings. Peter and Ara will be back to talk baseball with you on Wednesday. Thank you, guys.